Does this have any relationship with ethnicity, religion, and so on?
Okay, let's go to a slide. Let's go to a slide. Let me explain that, please. Let's go to slide. Let's go to slide 10, the last slide.
Okay.
Good. Now, this is Nigeria's education expenditure compared to the Islamic world. A lot of people have come up, oh, it's the North, it's this, it's that, they are dragging us back. It is not. It is we Nigerians that are refusing, right, to invest in the people. Look at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, in a period of from 1970 to 2015, have invested almost 700 billion. Iran has invested over 300 billion, right? Now, if you look at Iran did not have data for 1991, 92, and 2015. Iraq did not have data from 1970 to 79, and they did not have data from 1991 to 2003, 23 years. But yet, Iraq still what? Invest more than us in education, over 100 billion. Yet, data for 23 years is missing. Turkey has invested over 300 billion at the same time. Indonesia has invested 249 billion. Egypt has invested 162.4 billion. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has nothing, right, to do with religion. The truth is, we have been running our investment strategy, right, for the country from the mid-80s have been wrong. And if we do not correct it now, we are all heading down that lane of disaster. That's the truth. The people, if you do not invest in the people are the strategic assets of the country. I'll tell you, why do you think countries like Canada, the US, Britain, Australia, they are constantly asking for immigrants every year? When they are asking for immigrants, do they say any immigrants? They say highly skilled. That's how they put it, highly skilled. And why do they want highly skilled? Because they know that you are going to come in and contribute and grow their economy.
So how does that reflect to Arabic education, for instance? Because Arabic education is very prominent in northern Nigeria, and that doesn't mean that they are not educated.
Whether Arabic education or English education, all you need to do is look at the education expenditure. How many kids do we have outside schools? I'll tell you something. In Rwanda right now, right, in Kagami's house, they call Rwanda Kagami's house. Now, Kagame is driving education to the point that people are now moving their kids out of private schools. They are taking them back to public schools. I did the research. Do you know how many schools, how many private schools have closed down in Rwanda? Go look at it. It's part of his economic growth, his economic policy and strategy for growth. You cannot stifle the middle class and expect growth in an economy. It's impossible.
Is it enough to just build classrooms?
It's not enough.
So is the expenditure here is not just in the infrastructure?
No, when I say expenditure, I'm not just talking about infrastructure, right? First of all, we have infrastructural deficit when it comes to schools, right? And that's why the private sector stepped in, right? And they're now killing the country. Second, you have the people that manage the schools and the teachers, right? You have to invest in both the infrastructure and the people that manages and teach the students. They all go hand in hand. If you like, you have the best classrooms in the world, but if you have dollars teaching them, will still be well. Apart from you only turn out dollars, right? But at least you'll have freed the pockets of the. Well, if you are turning out dollars, right? That is another wahala for the country, because people will still now say, you know what, we don't have the right teachers here. My kids don't know anything, so I'd rather take them to a school where they will know something, and at the end of the day, start paying again.
Mr. Oseghale, the private schools or institutions that are running get the bulk of their teachers from within Nigeria.
Yes.
So, and then they are producing sharp brains.
Yes.
So that means we have the human resources.
We have the human resources.
So,
look, there are no jobs.
Now,
if you tell people to go and take up teaching jobs now, they will. For Christ's sake, train them.
When I said, is it about building classrooms or building schools. There are some people some politicians or leaders out there who would think it's just about let's go and refurbish the classrooms. What about the curriculum?
Oh, the curriculum also needs to change, right? See, most of our curriculums are not taught. They are not taught. I'll put it this way: they don't teach the kids how to think. I have gone through some of the curriculums, right? It's just garbage in, garbage out. You understand? The curriculum, we need a total overhaul from infrastructure to the human capital that manages the school and teach, and also the curriculum. If we get education right, every other thing will fall into place. Honestly, because if you get education right, we have a whole massive population of middle class that can grow this economy. But what we are doing right now, we are eroding the middle class. And the middle class is the strategic class that grows an economy. So whatever we do now is not going to work on a long-term basis. You cannot... Yeah, go ahead.
In the 9th slide, you were looking at expenditure based on countries. You had countries like Brazil spending $1.6 trillion.
That's for emerging economies.
That's for emerging economies. Yes. The slide before that, you had Thailand spending about 234.5 as against Nigeria's 52.7 billion.
Yes.
How did you come by this?
Because I calculated, look.
What's the implication of this?
What's the implication of this? That's what I've been telling you now. That's what we've been discussing. The implication is that we are just going to be stagnant. First of all, we are going to have brain drain, right? Do you know how many doctors are in the US? My wife is one of them. You understand? It got to a point she said, well, I was fed up of this system. So, first of all, you are going to have a brain drain. That's the first thing. Second, you will not be able to grow an economy because you are not freeing the pockets of the middle class. Education is an investment. It is not an expense. Education is the most strategic tool to build an economy. The moment we killed public education was the moment we killed the economy.
How long will it take us to get back?
See, it's not going to be an overnight thing, right? But I'm pleading to the president. I am pleading that if we need to salvage this country, we need to go back into massive investment in education. No matter, look, I stand challenged. I stand challenged. Let anybody come. Let us do it on public debate. There is nothing they will do. It's only on short term. As long as you've tied the pockets of the middle class, you cannot get growth in an economy. It's not possible.
So what are the quick fix? Where do we start from? Do we start from the legislators? Do we start with the budget itself? Or, as I did ask you, what is the time frame you're looking at before we can reverse this poverty trap?
I plead with the president, right? Look, if we need to reverse this poverty trap, it's not going to be a day's thing, right? Today, as of today, right, on daily basis, we have about on average 8,000 Nigerians added to extreme poverty, quoting the World Poverty Clock, right? Now, if we need to reverse this, we need to start massively revamping the public education sector. And then we need to start training these teachers. What Governor Rufai was doing in Kaduna State, it's a very laudable thing he's doing, right? Now, when you look at that, you find out that people will now start, this mass migration will start going back to public schools. And by the time you do that, you're taking a burden, right? Let's imagine it this way. You have a mouth. Okay,
let me just put you on hold for a minute or two. We'll be back after this message so you can conclude on that. Right. Join us again.